Stunning new developments over widespread cancellations and delays in the airline industry. Today, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg announcing he's opening an investigation into Delta Airlines specifically, as they are continuing to struggle to return to normal operations after last week's CrowdStrike outage. By 8:30 this morning, they had canceled more than 400 flights, and since Friday, they've canceled more than 6,000. Delta seems to be the only airline still having issues right now. American and United also dealing with a headache, but returning to normal cancellation levels by Monday. Now, Buttigieg taking to X, saying the investigation is to ensure the airline is following the law and taking care of its passengers. Passengers are growing frustrated as they continue to be stranded. Joining us now is NewsNation's travel editor, Peter Greenberg, traveling in a car right now. Don't worry, he's not driving. It is good to see you. First, why do you think Delta is the only airline still struggling to return to normal right now?
Well, let's talk about how many flights they had out there at the beginning. Delta has added a lot of capacity this summer, and the problem is when this thing hit, their planes became out of sequence. They were out of position, literally. Their flight attendants were out of position. They couldn't get to their flights. And remember this, in this long, hot summer of 2024, you're dealing with every flight being full, and that's what gets into what Secretary of Transportation Buttigieg was talking about, because you can't rebook passengers if all the other flights are full. So that means people's flights were basically, or their plans were disrupted not for a day or 2 days, but basically for maybe their entire trip. They just didn't go if they were going to a family event or a particular event that they couldn't then rebook themselves. And then the question becomes, where's the duty of care here for the passengers? Because it's not about just issuing a waiver and allowing you to rebook a flight at no additional cost. If you can't go anyway, then where's your refund for not being able to go? That's part of the issues that the DOT will be investigating.
You know, American and United are also really big airlines. They have tons of passengers dealing with the same headaches. What makes Delta different? Why were they not able to rebound the way that American and United were?
To tell you right now, nobody knows. This is it's a big surprise to me, simply because when you look at these meltdowns that have happened in the past, we had United Airlines a couple of years ago, Connell before them, of course, the notorious one with Southwest back in December of 2022. The airlines were able to adjust within 24 to 36 hours, and that was on their systems, not just somebody else's system. But if Delta was so dependent on one particular system that they had no backup, plus all their other flights are full and the planes are out of sequence, now you have a perfect storm, and that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, Southwest and Spirit, meanwhile, laughing in the background, not using any of these systems. Do you think it's fair for the Department of Transportation to investigate Delta when this is a CrowdStrike issue? It originated with technology outside of Delta's control.
Well, the question is, that gets into a definition of control. Remember, if you're dependent on one system and you have no backup, isn't it then under your control if you're delivering a service? And that's the issue right here. Remember, after the Southwest incident, it was the Department of Transportation that announced they were formulating a new set of definitive passenger rights. We've still not seen that yet. We've seen the dashboard of what airlines are supposed to do, but there's no DOT rules now about how you take care of your passengers in a situation like this. That's going to be part of the investigation as well.
So how long, you think, until things are finally back to normal with Delta as well?
Well, if they're down to only 400 cancellations today, emphasis on the word only, then there's a pretty good idea that between now and noon tomorrow Eastern, they should be back on track. But that does not mean that the passengers who were booked with them last week or in the 5 days since are going to get on planes. Remember, every plane is already full. They may be out of luck.
Okay, Peter Greenberg, as always, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.